round of the Season 2 of the Enterprise Legacy. This is the ever-changing flag set. There were, briefly on the screen there, some meta objectives. I didn't have a chance to see them. I am joined with first-timer in the booth, J-Mac the Librarian. J-Mac, did you have a chance to read any of those?
Well, they're on the screen, but I do have the image pulled up on my... Oh, there it is. On my computer as well. So these are meta objectives that with this particular club, racers that are on Restream are trying to figure out what these tasks might be so that we can unlock some permanent flags throughout the rest of the season.
Interesting. Well, I am not entirely sure what any of these mean.
There
I
was
have... Yeah, go ahead,
chatter.
please.
There was some chatter in the race room earlier tonight about specifically about the do you really need that many? A lot of people think that that might be purchasing 99 of something. But yeah, the rest of these, I mean, maybe some swag walking, but otherwise, I really have no idea what some of these would be referring to, honestly.
The Tesla Edison, I mean, I'm obviously a huge fan of the Thunderclaw. I don't know where Edison comes in there, but if we get some Thunderclaw usage, I will at least award useless PK points to whoever brings that out most often. Now, there's a lot going on with these flags. I certainly know and could read them all off from memory, but I would like to hear your thoughts, J-Mac. Is there anything maybe from the changes or anything just from these flags that we're about to see run that stands out to you?
Well, I think the biggest change is last week they ran as permajoin party with the Porum start, and this week the permajoin changed to hero, which means that now you're starting with a Porum hero. So that is, it could be good news, it could be bad news, depending on what type of runner you are, but that's really going to start affecting your agility plans, especially because vanilla agility is still on.
Yeah, so there's a lot. There are a few things to unpack here. I would say you're not going to find much of a grind, and we're missing Cecil, Tella, Edge, and Fusoya from these seeds, or this seed that we're about to see run here. As you can see on the runner's screens, with they're not there. They don't exist. They're not showing up. Tella might learn Medio if you complete ordeals, but you're not going to find him anywhere, and you're never going to use it on Tella, even if you did. So you're missing you're missing your big Zerkers. You're missing Fusoya and Tella, the two people who have early enough access to week where you might actually consider doing some sort of a grind.
Yeah, the
And
party comp
then,
is going to be really interesting.
yeah, and you're already starting with a Porum. So,
Ooh.
arguments aside about Porum versus Rosa, you want two of the four members of your party to be a white mage is sort of an interesting choice, particularly with this pairing that we have to start here.
Yeah, we do have, at least we've got a Kane who might be patently average, but is going to get some good swings in early.
There is a Kane, and the key items are scattered in two of the three places you might expect to find key items, which is the main key item checks and the summon monster checks, but they're not on the moon. They're somewhere else. Where else are they going to be searching for these key items?
I don't know, but it looks like, according to chat, we have already met our first meta objective. Flattery will get you somewhere has been met because one of our runners has actually named a character after the creator of this club, Zoe Vermillion.
Big shout outs to Zoe. Love Zoe. I'm hoping the chat will continue to guide us and explain maybe what those boxes mean, and then what potentially is behind these boxes. And we're seeing some alternate looting here. So the trap chest can contain key items, and they're also in their vanilla location. So we see waterfall here, but then there's also, you can run into this tower and you can take all this loot confidently knowing that you're not going to have to reset out of a trap.
Yes, that is true. With the T Wildish flag on, that means that the treasure chests are going to be weighted. So seeing both of these runners go to the typical starting points for getting some good high tier loot early on is a really interesting divergence for sure.
And with the K trap thing, it in my head, Kane is one of the biggest beneficiaries of something like K trap being on. Just because of the number of different things, and considering there's no Cecil, so Crystal Sword, X-Cals, there's not even an edge to throw them. But I'm really excited for that Kane. And if I'm one of these runners, I know I'm looking for a defense sword, a white spear, a dragoon spear, a Gungnir, an Avenger, Zeus gauntlet, power shirt. You know, Kane, it might be the poor man's Cecil, but when you don't have any choice, you have a lot. You're gonna get a lot of swings here, I think, to potentially kit him out where blink, and it might look a little like Dark Knight Cecil just doing work with a crystal sword.
Yes, and while we like to talk about Tella being a utility character, Kane is also a utility character with using different types of weapons because he can use the spears, the swords, and the axes as well. So hopefully our runners are finding some decent weapons for him early on by looting where they both chose to loot.
But I spear will just always still have a place in my heart. If we didn't find anything and Rumphy or Scythe Marshal ended up having to run into the first fight with the spear, that'd be something. That Artemis bow is a huge pickup on Harumph's side. Not only just because of the bonus strength, but you're gonna see that bonus agility in these early fights means Porum is just gonna be moving way faster.
Yes. We have found a Palom on top of Mount Hobbs, along with an Ashura. But with this this Artie bow, I don't think this fight will be very difficult at all.
No, and I think I'm not sure, but I maybe saw a heroine robe. That's a base Porum. I don't think with mute arrows who hit for 1,000 and then 500. So that is some early power. And I know when I run flags like these, you always pray that you find something that good from where you loot, because you're worried that if you go to the wrong place, somebody else is going to be running around with that Artie bow, the heroine robe, whatever it might be, and you're stuck with spear, Kane jumping for 120 damage around.
Well, and don't forget staff Porum too.
Oh, it's such a good staff. It's made of staff. No, I don't agree with this play from Harumph, but
I was about to say, this is definitely not the play you would make.
It looks like I got named on Scythe Marshal's side after Palom, which we take that. Hopefully we get some Quack online. This is curious. When you only have 4 characters, or JMac, in your opinion, are you looking for Berserk casters? Do you love having this Palom early, or what kind of team are you trying to put together, particularly when you only have four slots to fill?
I will be honest, as a Pink Puff, I have never played a real 4-party feed before. So this, I think, would be extremely challenging for me, and I feel like I would want a little bit of everything, because with one less character, my comfort level would be down. So I actually like having the twins early on, because that gives you a lot of differing abilities to fight some of these early game bosses that might give you trouble.
Yes, and Asuka, our restreamer, and speaking of Pink Puffs, the puffiest, pinkiest of them all, points out that you were also there. We are the twins on Scythe Marshal's side.
I will take that today.
In Harumph, pulled an Adamant, it's, we're so used to seeing Forge being a required objective that you might think that Antlion was required or had any value in it. But it didn't. Nothing down there.
So it looks like Harumph is going straight to Ordeals and hoping to find something a little bit better at the top.
Yeah, if I'm Harumph here, I'm not terrified at all given the gear that I have. The early fights, the overworld fights in particular, uh, contrary to, when I first started running, I thought you always wanted your anchor to be as slow as possible. But these early fights, because those bosses are already so slow, you want to be as fast as possible. And so this Porum with all of that gear on is just gonna take all of the turns from everybody, I think.
Yes, I think that'll make especially this back attack spot, which sometimes can be very difficult. I think it'll make it much easier with this Artie bow.
Yep, and this is one of our required objectives. We are looking at, we do need to complete the Tower of Xat. We're looking for the Luca key, and then Masa altar, and the Giant of Babel. This is something.
This is not necessarily what you want to see, but also better here than somewhere else.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with the broadcast. That wasn't Harumph's stream that had frozen. It was just Harumph who had frozen in terror at just facing down that dragon. It's a very common occurrence for anyone who runs this game to run into Wyvern, immediately go down to your inventory and sit there and ask yourself, what am I doing here?
And we got through that without even seeing the witch burn.
Yep, there is the advantage of that speed. Porum, I think, got 3 arrows off. Kane got a jump off.
And Scythe Marshal did a cheeky Chocobo Forest check right there.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I'm going to continue checking chat for this. If the Chocobo Forests have anything to do with those objectives, there were too many of them for me to really confidently say that I remember what any specific one was. But there are, for those who ever are forced to do dark matter hunts, there are chests in the various Chocobo Forests that I couldn't tell you exactly where they are nor what's in them ever.
And
There's
we are
some
also
value.
seeing some eyeing 99 items. So Scythe Marshal is definitely playing towards these meta objectives right now.
Definitely, and back attack CPU also not going to pose a problem here. You're grateful that you have an archer, because jumping Kane takes a lot of time to get those attacks off, as opposed to having that archer in the middle with all of that strength and that agility. So this is anyone missing this gear that Harumph has is going to have a much tougher time with both of these fights on the top of Ordeals.
Yes. And it looks like Scythe Marshal picked up a samurai bow in his travels, so that is not, a terrible bow considering, but it doesn't give you the speed that the Artie bow does. So it'll be interesting to see how his fights go when he gets up Ordeals.
Yeah, the second best bow is it's plus 10 strength. It's close. It's as close as you can get. Not exactly where you want it, but also good to see. Harumph has been doing this as well as Scythe Marshal is the person that you want to have the highest accuracy putting in the middle. And when you're running something with a C hero, it doesn't necessarily have to be your agility anchor. So whoever you want to be the person who is the most consistent and gets the highest attack rolls is who you want in the middle. And both of them with their archer Porum in the middle is great to see.
Yes, and we are seeing what happens when the Sea Hero flag is on. It means that your hero is the one that goes into the crystal room and fights the fight by themselves. Which, with an Artie bow Porum, not really too worried about that. So Harumph just went right in, didn't even save.
Yep, with that gear on Porum, I would assume Porum would get 3 to 4 attacks off before anything even happens on the other side. That's a situation where Dark Knight Cecil, it's easier to just shoot a bunch of times than it is to try to sit through a whole monologue about justice.
Yes, for sure.
But it looks like our two runners have found opposing underground access.
We are just a restream of opposites today. It looks like the magma key is up top of Ordeals, and the hook was in Fabul.
And the magma cree's a great pickup. You're going to get that early underground access, but you cannot discount the hook even with the magma key because that pesky K trap flag is on, and there are 2 trap chests on that hook route. And really now, for our runners, it's coming down to they need to find the darkness crystal, and they're going to need to find the Luca key. So I know there are some very rude vanilla trap chests up on the moon, but where darkness is hidden, I think is going to lead to some real questions, because then what do you do?
Like, as much as I love running some K-trap, I don't necessarily like having to open all of the trap chests, but watching it, I would love to see the darkness crystal hidden in a trap chest down in the Sylph Cave.
Oh, the Sylph Cave trap chests will pose somewhat of at least an annoyance, particularly with the Sea Hero flag. If you can have a Palom who is 2.5 times agility greater than the Anchor, then they can get a very consistent Quake off before any actions occur. But depending on what gear we have, depending on how fast that Porum ends up, you might have to try to actually, what I like to call honestly, beat those fights, which is not fun for anyone to have to do. And that the 2v2 flag sets and a lot of the K traps, you sit there and you constantly have how you're going to get through those in the back of your mind. And I'll be curious to see if we don't have RA1 Palom, we'll see some strats come out.
And it looks like another ding 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 for a meta objective. Do you really need that many? Was in fact buying 99 of an item, which Scythe Marshal has done.
I do have these objective. I did pull up the meta objectives, and I have maybe one or two ideas. Rydia to the rescue again. Not entirely sure what that one is. I'm thinking World's Fastest Paladin is completing ordeals before completing anything else.
That is a guess. I was thinking like cast fast or use that J item I never actually use that I get every seed I play on a Cecil. But that doesn't make sense either right now because there are no Cecils in the seed. So
yeah, that was what eliminated that, at least in my head, from contention. I'm not sure if these are persistent. I know everything about this whole community club. But we did find a Thunderclaw from Harumph. This is really looking up. Unfortunately, only Yang will be able to equip that. But this is another trap chest that it would be very curious to see if that's where Darkness ends up, is the Warrior's chest. Because they are frustrating if you can't throw a Quake. Although, we'll have to see what the shops contain, because if we find some Hourglasses, we'll have at least a better time with these trap chests down here.
Yes, and it looked like our free item in the Feymarch is the Twin Harp, which is a lot of runners' most favorite check to do.
What I'm watching, I love the Twin Harp. I made the mistake on Restream on Monday of deciding to complete everything else available in the seed before the Twin Harp, which turned out to be double required. So we have a bit of an interesting relationship of recent, but I believe that the 99 starting kit was Earth Hammers. I'm not sure if you saw, but the
I
amount of
definitely was not
money,
paying attention. Oh,
the amount
yes.
of money that they have just indicates that either somebody accidentally duped a whole bunch of iron shields, or they managed to sell close to 99 of something that has decent value.
Well, and as the dupe glitch is not on, I have a feeling that they got a pretty good piece of equipment.
Yep.
Now, those are some interesting Feymarch bosses. We have the DMs in the Leviathan spot, which are going to be super punchy. And then we have an Odin and Queen Asura. So
Yeah,
it
and these are
looks like...
those are both hard agility spots too.
Yes. And Harumph is saying, no thank you, not right now.
Yeah, rough passing, I agree with that from here. This is up, up. Why did you have to find it right when I was saying, right when I was about to say it? Harumph locates a curse string in those back four, so throw, at least for Harumph for the time being, all of the agility concerns that you might have with this hero, at least until quite high levels, but not going to be a big deal now that you have the ability to speed up your other two party members by slowing down this Porum hero.
Yeah. And there's another curse string and a Zeus gauntlet. So it looks like Sylph Cave has some really good equipment with a Gungnir spear. That's gonna really help this party out.
Yeah, and this Wildish flag and the knowledge of where the vanilla trap chests are lets you comfortably run through here and grab just about everything. Fun fact, when I first started running this, I knew there were trap chests down here. I knew they were randomized, but for whatever reason, I didn't think the ones in this room with Yang could be trapped. And for whatever reason, I got lucky on the first 8 or 9 seeds I ran, and I never ran into a trap chest until I was probably 8 minutes from my last save and ran in and just did my little grab those two on the way out and just immediately got wiped. So
I've never done that before. Never.
They are not the vanilla ones. It's very fortunate for the most part that once you know where they are in that cave, because it's just a lineup of 6, and then the Toad Lady is off on her own. Fun fact about the Toad Lady fight is you can't technically lose the Toad Lady fight.
Yes, you just can get turned into toads.
Yes, over and over, and then untoaded and retoaded, and by the time you're so exhausted by that, you just get toaded right over again. And now Scythe Marshal looks like continuing on with the overworld checks. Depending on the gear, and there aren't going to be any sirens. There's no edge to steal them. There's going to be no D machine grind. Heading underground I would consider it for what we saw Rumpf do. Maybe check the freebie, maybe do some more looting, but you kind of want to stick to your easier fights just to try to collect XP before you really want to start challenging anything, particularly from what we saw in that Feymarch.
Yes, and even the Dwarf Castle bosses can be quite tricky without some early game XP. So now we see her coming back up and doing some of these overworld checks.
Yeah, and Scythe Marshal is in... When I get early Palom, the one thing that goes through my head is, when am I getting Virus? Do I have Virus yet? Is it Virus time yet? Because particularly when you have the twins, you can use Twin Magic. Twin Magic is fine. But once Palom has Virus, then this D-Mist in particular is going to go a lot faster than without Virus.
Yes. And we have found our D-Mist, which means that that's an extra key item check. Because the no free key item is on. So this becomes a double dipper here.
Yeah, all you have to do is remember to check D-Mist after this fight.
Which again is something I have never forgotten. Never once.
It's a rumor I've heard that people sometimes don't remember to check it. And we are seeing again the advantage of just even relatively fast characters in certain spots. Demist would have gotten those 3 punches off almost immediately with a even middling fast anchor that Scythe Marshal has without those bonus agility. You're getting right through that Demist fight without a single missed phase, and well, that changes the outlook a little bit.
That it does. That is a key item that leads to our third objective.
So we're one key item from Go mode, but there are, let's see, 13, 15 trap chests out there that could have the Darkness Crystal.
Well, don't forget, we're also looking for the Earth Crystal for Zot. Oh no, or is this? No, it is complete.
Oh, it is complete Tower of Zot.
Yep.
I had that in my head as Lower Babel. Never mind. I redact all of that.
But 2 key items away. 2 crystals.
2 key items. Earth Crystal. Man, Earth Crystal loses a lot of its value when you can only keep 4 characters, and you're not going to be able to collect that much XP.
Yes.
That's like having to clear the hook route after you've full cleared the moon. But now, I mean, the world is open. JMac, I'm not sure if you know all the trap chests, but what would be the most appealing location of trap chests for you? There's Castle Eblin, there's the 2 in the hook route, there are 4 going up Lower Babel, there are 7 in the Feymarch, there's 1 in the Land of Summon Monsters. What do you think your route might look like here?
I definitely think I'm not doing the trap chest underground until I have Quake on Palom. So I probably am going to Eblin, or I might decide to do a cheeky harp check with a quick trip up to the Flame Dog.
Yeah.
Which might be out of the way, but sometimes that will hold more value.
Heart Gamer Tracker pointing that out in chat. I had forgotten that one. There are plenty of places to check. We haven't seen either. Part of me is wondering, do I want to check the hook route character? I think you have pretty decent damage here. Knowing who a 4th character might be is pretty solid. Those 2 trap chests aren't that big of an issue. And then I'm thinking, if you have lit arrows, I would prefer seeing the Thunderclaw used. But if you do have lit arrows, those Lower Babel trap chests, I think either one of our restreamed runners here would have the damage to one-shot those. They're weak to anything that does damage to machines. So that's a convenient one to run up. But then maybe you don't feel comfortable taking the fight at the top of the tower, and that's not something you want to just leave hanging.
Yeah, and you don't want to have to go up there twice. But it does look like Scythe Marshal has found an Ogre Axe, and so that'll definitely make the hook route checks or chests as well as the Eblin chests a lot easier.
Yeah, that utility of Kane is, depending on how many of these trap chests we have to keep going through, can be huge. If you find something like a Dragoon Spear before you have to head up to the moon, that is a huge sigh of relief. Even Dragoon Armor, just the moon trap chests can be rude beyond all belief if you do not have the right gear to do enough damage before they do way more damage than you want.
Yes. The good news is, with Vanilla TrapCon, you know exactly where the Vivi and Jimmy Dragon Chest are.
But knowing it's Asuka, 424, who's rolled the seed, I think in the back of your mind you're trying to think of what the cruelest possible outcome could be and trying to maybe metagame your way there.
Well, if you are metagaming with Asuka, then you would immediately go and check that harp. which Harumph, who loves to fade harp, is probably going to continue to fade harp because Asuka rolled it. So this is going to be a very entertaining scene to watch.
Yep, in chat pointing out Spoon Adamants are on. So that's the thing where I don't lose a lot of sleep having to clear a bunch of trap chests, hoping that I run into an Adamant or a Spoon. The big question is, if you hit early go mode and you have, say, fewer than 10 key items, you're not going to get to Nuke and you're not going to get to White without taking random encounters. It's for me, I'm staring at the end of this more, and I'm wondering, well, if I clear every single trap chest in the game, whatever, I'm fine. I'm going to have all the levels in the world. But I'm 2 key items from go mode right now. If this ends up being real quick, are we going to buy 35 Starvilles and throw a curse ring on Porm and go for Eddie strats, or what are we going for here?
That is a very viable option at this point, because we do know where the Starveils are in the shops. So I don't know. Maybe you kind of hope that it takes a hot minute to find some key items, or to find your key items to get up to the moon and finish your objectives. That maybe you get those 10 key items.
Oh, indeed, and yeah, these Mad Ogres aren't going to have a very good time over here. I did not see what Harumph pulled out of the first trap chest, but it does not look like it was a key item. And Scythe Marshal is now sort of in the position we saw Harumph in a few minutes ago with the bonus. But yeah, this is where do you go, and why is it always the wrong choice?
No matter where you go, it's going to be the wrong choice. And every chest you don't open has a crystal sword.
Yeah. That their money count is just so impressive right now. Like, you can buy everything. You can only 2 Sork ropes, just grab a third one. Use it as a tent. Sleep under it. Cut the sides out.
Sork robe is a very expensive tent, and there's a very expensive shirt. So while Evelyn does not have any key items, Harumph does come out with some really good gear for this party.
Yeah, and the white shirt kind of counteracts all of the negatives that you were going to take, at least from your white magic stats, from probably the inevitable curse string that you're going to put on that Porum. So even more so than a Sork robe. Sork robe, +5 to both white and black magic, but the white shirt, it's either 10 or 15 to the white magic, and that's sort of, okay, Porum's curative spells, if I have to use them, aren't going to be as terrible as they would be if it was just straight curse string Porum.
Looks like Harumph is gearing up to go do our first underground fights in the Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, I like this play. I think, maybe we're looking for sort of information on who this character's going to be. Oh. Well, this will get interesting. I'm not sure what the gear is. Never mind.
Nope.
I will seek elsewhere. I will see what Harumph chooses to do. Scythe Marshal headed back to the overworld. I don't know exactly how I would run this, but for me, if I'm Harumph and I brought that hook over there, I would consider doing that Steelmen and the Mad Ogres and all of those checks just to have them off my mind, because I dislike leaving those hook trap chests. But we're going for it.
We are for it as pigs.
So this is a fun strat for a game that was designed perfectly, and everything that we use in it is intended. Do you know how this operates? Why this works?
I do not know exact order of operations, but I do understand that applying certain statuses means that other statuses that are tried to be applied do not be applied because the piggy status actually supersedes this paralysis. Same with Venom, so if you cast Venom on your party as well, then you won't be paralyzed by Golbez.
Yeah, that's as well as I know it. There's a priority, and for whatever reason, hold has a very low priority. So most of these effects that you can do, besides just looking super adorable, will allow you to get menus and inputs off without the concern of having to wait until that hold is lifted and then the sort of 50-50 Golbez fight.
Yes, so we are seeing Harumph, who's going to be able to get his Star Veil off so that you don't even have to worry about who the first spell is going to hit.
I will say, if I'm either of these runners, I'm sure we might see Scythe Marshal run in here. The thing that I'm cursing more than the difficulty of this fight is the fact that this is great early XP that two of your characters are about to miss out on. This is 21,000 XP that you're going to get, and with someone like Palom, with Porum, with Kane, Eddie doesn't matter how much XP Eddie gets; he's the same. But the other three that I listed, you're seeing a situation where, well, I'm not getting the XP, and now we're seeing Grumpy's not even getting XP on anyone.
No, he's not. But
I
on the
will,
other side of the
yeah.
screen, we're seeing Scythe Marshal go after his Twin Harp check.
I would like to think this was devised by Asuka as a punishment for not doing what we're about to see Scythe Marshal do. And I'll probably say this exact phrase once or twice more, J-Mac, but as it is your first time, you do have to explain why there are so many harps in the chat right now, and why there is so much love for this Cave Magnus that Scythe Marshal is running into.
Well, in the vanilla game, this is where Eddie plays his harp song and saves the party. And so the powers that be have created some really, really fantastic tunes to replace this song. And every seed, there is a random harp song that is played. And this is part of the favorites amongst the audience for Free Enterprise.
Yep, so we are going to take a wipe, and then I should have started talking several seconds ago, but we will let DJ Spoonie V play some beats.
Absolutely.
Now, worlds did collide there, chat. The worlds of FF4 and FF6 did come head to head there. Part of me was kind of hoping that we'd already seen Golbez, but if you roll the alt gauntlet there, the music gets immediately cut off to go to the regular dungeon movie, just to have Asuka troll Asuka, but we didn't get that lovely harp music, FF6, and now we see Harumph sort of calling an audible and heading off to another location.
And we have found another cane, which we cannot take because the no dupes flag is on. But as Chad is pointing out, the twin harp is hard required with that darkness crystal we've been looking for.
Is it ever not required? I love it. It's great. It's the question of, because it's so obvious, it's sitting right there, but there are so many more dense checks in this K trap to make that it's very easy to justify putting that off without even just doing it out of pure stubbornness like I do on certain situations. But this is now we're on a very limited hunt right now.
We are looking for one key item in a whole bunch of boxes and a whole bunch of main and summon checks still to do.
Yeah, this is a needle in a haystack. This opens up 7, I think, lunar trap chests. There are no key items from any of the lunar bosses, so outside of the Masa altar, you can put those out of your mind. This also opens up the last arm chest on the giant. And now, essentially, you have access to every trap chest in the game. And you're looking for one thing. Where are you going, J-Mac? Are you gonna go fight that Golbez again?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think, depending, I'm gonna go and try to get some trap chests out of the way and maybe get some more early XP so that I can fight some of these bosses if I have to.
Well, let's take a guess. I'm gonna take a guess, and I'm going to say that the only remaining key item that we need is behind the hairdryer's chest up on the moon.
That is a really good guess. I still want to see the earth crystal behind the centipede chest in the Sylph Cave.
The centipedes. Well, time will tell. It could be a lot of time. It could be not very much time at all. But that darkness crystal is. We'll see how long Harumph is notably not a music fan.
Yes, we will see where he ends up going right now, but it looks like Scythe Marshal might be taking his attempt at completing Dwarf Castle, and he's about to find out that he is going to have to face that Golbez.
Yep. This is all of the choices that you make. This is the hindsight seed now once you have darkness in your hand, which is wherever I go, it's going to be wrong, and someone else will have gone immediately to the right place. And we are getting some good guesses out in chat, as well as 10 gift subs from Atticus T. Thank you so much.
Looks like Harumph is going into the Babel Tower to take on these eyeballs and hope to pull some key items out of here.
Assassin Dagger is not exactly what you're hoping for. These are, I brought this up earlier, but these, of all the trap chests, once you get underground and moon access that you can typically get straight through, these are the ones, because they are the same script as the D machine fight, in that they'll just sit there searching, and if you If you can kill them in one shot, they have about 1,450 hit points. They will just continue to search on into the abyss.
Harump has pulled a tat, but no key item.
Also using the pro strat of having an adamant armor in your inventory, but not equipping it on anyone. Now, there is a reason potentially behind that besides I have it, I don't know what to do with it, or I forgot about it. And do you know what that is, J-Back?
No, I don't actually.
So, fun story about the adamant armor is it has all of these defenses hard-coded into it to, all of the different elemental spells. The issue is that when they coded it, they just assumed that you would never take the adamant armor off, whoever had the adamant armor. So if you put it on, the way that it's coded is when you take it off, they become double damage is taken to anything that you actually got a defense against from the adamant armor. So if you end up with one adamant armor and you switch it off between people, you're actually applying weaknesses to whoever you're taking the adamant armor back off from. So the typical advice is to figure out who you want it on and then just leave it on them for the remainder of the game.
That is something I definitely did not know, but now I'm glad I do.
Yes, Awakened Smoke, double weakness to the resistances that the adamant gives. That's far more succinctly put than I just tried.
And it looks like the Babel chests have provided exactly no key items, so that is a wash. But we're going to see Harump go up to the top of the tower and see who this boss is.
Sparkle? I'm not sure who all we've seen. I know we've seen Wyvern. Have we seen other lunar bosses?
I do not think so.
Well, let's sparkle with the sparkle. It's a double sparkle tower.
Now, Heartgamer, our tracker, says we have seen Plague. So this could be D-Lunars, Pale Dim, or the Nope Rope.
Adamant armor also going to come in handy against Fulbaz. If Harump's Forum wouldn't have died, you would have seen the Heroine Robe also resists hold. But the Adamant armor is going to resist the permadeath and the hold. So whoever you have that equipped on, you don't even necessarily have to worry about the piggy. You can just sit on that person's turn and then go burr in whatever way you choose.
And it looks like Scythe made it through. And now we have either a Rubicante or an Elements. With a Rydia, who is my favorite character, who might be making it into this party.
Well, there is one of the legacy meta objectives is Rydia to the rescue. And I have no idea what that means because at no point, I think, career have I ever said, "Oh, Rydia, you've come and you've saved my team."
Oh no, an early find of a Bahamut summon has allowed Rydia to definitely be the hero of many thieves.
You just still use her as an anchor, and you deal with the consequences. Or, I mean, I run this game stubborn as a mule. Pale Dim up at the top. This would be another situation where if Harumph had pulled the Dragoon Spear, that would have come in handy. But I still, this Pale Dim is not going to be too much of a threat. And so we'll get 2 key item checks here.
That we do. Package from the top of tower, and the spoon! How exciting!
Oh, well, the spoon flag is on, and maybe you would like to explain that one.
The spoon flag is where Edward gets to equip the magic spoon that when he equips it, it becomes pretty much as powerful as a crystal sword, and Edward becomes your Burr character, which with no Cecil and no Edge, a Spoonward is a really great alternative.
Yeah, that's a really good home for your adamant armor. Even with the spoon, Eddie can remain the most glass cannon of glass cannons. But with something like the adamant armor, he goes from glass to full cannon. And it looks like Scythe took that Rydia.
With the
And then
hopes of unlocking an objective, a meta objective.
exactly. I'm wondering if Zoe is here or if anyone thinks that was it. The title of it was Rydia to the rescue, and then in parentheses again. Did that work? Zoe, we just saw Scythe Marshal take Iridia at Dwarf Castle with a full party, and then did not. Okay. Well, we did get a spoon out of it. That's one meme.
We did, and it was a valiant effort for that meta objective.
Ah, okay. Scala knows as well. So we have some sage answers to the questions that.
And it looked like Harump is getting ready to come down and take on these stealth trap chests. He has moved his Porum up to the top slot. So, I mean, his Palom up to the top slot. So it looks like we're about to get some RA1 trap chest strats.
Yep. First step is remembering where to go. And then the second step is praying that this entire search isn't a complete waste of time, which we know where the darkness crystal is. So anyone in chat, are we offering odds? There's 6 here. Earth crystal's got to be what? 1 in 3, 1 in 4 it's in here? Maybe a little more?
I don't know. You're doing math on stream. And I don't know the percentages enough to know.
Yeah, this is a really good showing of setting up. So RA1 Palom, 2.5 times agility more than whoever your anchor is. Will get a Quake off before essentially any of these enemies can attack. It depends on how many people are in your party and their relative agility as well, to a degree. But shouldn't be an issue.
And do you have to change your battle speed in order for this to work?
It's recommended. If you can run buffer like Pankraz, you don't have to worry about battle speed ever. If you're a human, then I turn it down to 2 or 3, just depending on how I'm feeling at any particular moment. And the time gain lost is really doesn't matter that much. Moboy is saying you can do BS1 without run buffer. I would believe you. I'm still turning the battle speed down. And this is more route divergence here. This is Scythe is headed down. Is it to the Fey March?
Oh, Luca. We're getting a Luca check.
This makes sense. Do your objectives. This has been sitting here so long. I think with the bonus levels in the gear, you feel more comfortable running down here. Particularly fast magic using bosses are very difficult to get through here because they boosted, I think the logic is they boosted Evil Wall's magic stat aggressively because they want that crush to hit every single time.
That makes sense.
And we all know Evil Wall cheats, so it's a very fast spot. It is a fast spot to begin with.
Ooh, and we have an Ogo Pogo, which is not necessarily a boss you want to see in a super fast spot.
Ogo not looking incredibly fun, although swung at that cane and hit for 1 damage, so hopefully, for Scythe's sake, that Eddie can withstand attacks as effectively. Oh, there's the curse right there.
Well, that was a fun fight.
And yeah, that's I mean you can sort of just attempt to roll the dice on that, because if you make it through a round and a half with the right people avoiding punches, a Zerk and a blink up on Eddie should be enough to win the Ogo fight, but I've thrown
Get some good rolls.
Yeah, I've thrown myself against that wall. It's not fun. And I think Scythe maybe did not take a save on the way into Luca Cave. So doing, I think, the better part of Valor here in deciding, maybe I'll just do this last. I know it's not the Earth Crystal now, so I can just come back down here whenever I want, knowing it's Ogo.
Yeah, and that piece of knowledge will definitely help when he is better leveled and ready to come down.
And I did say that this Quake thing works on everyone. I'm not sure if Ruff turned down his battle speed, what exactly happened there, but the Maul Balls do have a chance of deciding, hey, I'm going to go, and I'm going to turn the guy casting Quake into a Toad. As there is a key item now.
Did find a key.
So that's two more checks that are available, but it's also one of these things where if you leave here with only the Baron key, you're really praying that the Baron key has some value.
Well, I guess if all else fails, he is doing a grind to potentially help if he has to go find the key item in the moon chests, as well as we do have to complete the Giant of Babels, and that could potentially need some high levels for our party.
And that's a nice piece of gear. I've brought that up a couple times, but now the Dragoon Spear is in hand. Also pulled an Avenger Sword. So as fun as Spoonward is, if it's me, that Adamant probably is going on Kane. And I'm gonna let Spoonie live or die by whether Spoonie lives or dies. So down into the Fame March, Scythe Marshal. This is an interesting choice of fight. These are not the easiest fights to run into here.
No, they are super punchy. Too punchy right now.
Odin had a point to prove there.
Wanted to make sure that people knew that he is supposed to belong on the Baron throne.
Yeah, he is punchy. He punches. Those are two pretty punchy spots, and those are two very punchy bosses at these two spots. The Dark Elves, they get written off in certain situations. Haha, they're free. They don't have the boss bit. But if you don't have the speed to get a size cast off or an hourglass or something like that, it is they're gonna punch. They're gonna punch 3 times for every 1 punch Odin would get, and at about the same strength.
It looks like the Baron key is going to be our only key item from the Sylph Cave, so that means my prediction for where the Earth Crystal is incorrect.
Well, it looks like Harumph doesn't feel too great about that either. There are a couple theories when you go and you pull something like the Baron key out of that, and a lot of people argue you've started a chain. You have to see that chain all the way through to the end. But we'll see, because Harumph set up these strats. This is the last chest that you're really going to want to use this Quake on. So maybe just thinking, before I move any more gear around or any more equipment, let's knock let's knock these guys out too, because this strategy works on this guard fight as both our runners can burst at the same time. But would you chase that Baron key if that was what you have pulled out of all of these trap chests?
I think I do, especially because that's really the only key item that we've received down in the underworld. And so other than going and potentially fighting that Golbez, which we know that's there, and Harumph hasn't checked the Luca spot yet, but if, I think you go and chase the Baron key, especially because you can take on most anything that's in those bosses, or those boss spots.
Yep, and Kain is turning into, who you hope Kain turns into in the event of coming up blank on so many different checks. Is you have Avenger, Dragoon, Gungnir, Zeus Gauntlet, Kain, so you're reaching a point where I wouldn't be surprised to see Harumph put music off until last, just for the sake of doing it, but when you do head up to the moon with that type of gear, you feel very comfortable, at least with regards to I can get through these trap chests.
Yes, and we are seeing, now that Harumph has both pieces of Forge, we are about to see what our Sea Hero Forge is going to be. But he did go ahead and check that Coco shop and found 4 ribbons. So he is now going to officially be all set for that Golbez fight. So now he might decide to go do that before going back up to Baron.
Looks like Harumph maybe skipped dinner to run this race, because he bought 20 apples too.
Must be very hungry. Or he might be deciding that he wants to feed his hero and his twin some apples to grow up their HP a little bit.
Yeah, it will be something to see who Harumph uses those apples on. If it would probably be in Harumph's best interest right now to save those apples, considering we know where the spoon is going to appear. But at the same time, I just went on that whole rant about Kain being really strong now, so maybe you don't need to throw them on Eddie. It might be a good idea to throw them on Porum, Porum being the one white mage that you have. And I love Palom, but middle game Palom is still just the same Quake spell for about 600,000 experience plus. So I'm looking at Kain. I'm looking at Kain and Porum really just working together in a poor man's Rosa Cecil situation.
And Harumph is about to get the bad news that Ogo is down in the Luca cave.
Yep, and as you mentioned though, Harumph going down here with the benefit of all 7 of those trap chests in the Fey March, or in the Sylph Cave, means that he should be in a better position to get through. There's no guarantee that Ogo isn't going to want to Ogo, but Harumph has cleared enough trap chests now where he has some XP, he has some bonus armor, some bonus weapons. So maybe the nope rope won't be as big of a nope. You gotta hack like you do it.
That was intentional, can't you tell?
Yeah, pro tip. If you fall down that, you have to go check that chest, and then later on you say that you did it on purpose. And I've never fallen down that rope, gone up it, and then fallen down the next rope to the right of it in a tournament race.
Oh. Well, I can say I've never done that. It'd be telling the truth.
You're new. Don't worry. There's there are mistakes to be made that you won't even realize exist until
I have
until
now
you've
cursed
grown.
my next tournament. It's
Oh
fine.
yeah. Start buffering your inputs when you rock into rooms, and then you get in your own head about it, and then you just hit another one. And this is Harum's key item count will be 10 before hitting the moon, which is convenient. Scythe Marshal, only with the Baron key in that package behind right now. So that double XP for the Giants. I would you rather go get your XP on the Giant or get your XP from the moon and then go and fight those two bosses on the Giant?
Considering that the vanilla Giant flag is on, I would probably go up to and get some XP on the moon, just because I don't want to end up getting trapped on the Giant and lose a lot of my progression.
Oh, see, no, that's not the right answer. The right answer is YOLO the Giant every single time. Immediate Giant YOLO.
Okay, well, let me do that in my next Pink Pup race.
I don't promise good results. I promise an entertaining viewership, an entertaining watch. So there are some fights on the Giant that will be slow. It's a curious thing, though, because that last arm chest is also on that walk up there, and if that happens to hold the Earth Crystal, then you can run right down to that Masamune altar and, swag walk directly to Zeromus.
That is true. I think as a newbie runner, I am more inclined to play it safe, which, loses me a lot of races, honestly, but the YOLO strat could actually pay off.
Well, my guess is still in the pool. We have now seen all of the trap chests on the blue planet, excluding one, are Tracker Heart Gamer's guess, which possibly the rudest, tied for the rudest with, we've already seen Demist, so it can't happen, but Demist at Magus Sisters giving the Earth Crystal is something that has happened to me, and that is up there in rudeness with the flame dog holding the progression in the double in the tower,
because that is typically the last place you look, which sometimes is why you want to go there and look first.
You want to either get ahead of it. It's why it's at its funniest when it's demist at Magus Sisters, because not only have you definitely full cleared all of the rest of the seed except for maybe the Giant looking for demist, but then you have to walk all the way out of the Tower of Zot, go get your Earth Crystal, and then go all the way back up the Tower of Zot, and you have to deal with the text from that one guy. It's like, I can send you the Tower of Zot. And it's like, yeah, I know, I was just up there, I've been there.
And now we are headed down and into the Baron Castle. And I have completely forgotten who our starting boss was. Do you remember?
I couldn't tell you the starting boss of any seed I've ever played. I get to a point and I say to myself, it's probably not that big of a deal. Even when I'm on a boss hunt, I'm like, I should have been paying attention.
Well, Chat was paying attention. It is a guard variant of some sort.
Well, it's good to hear our tracker is paying closer attention to what's going on than we are. Honestly, if I have an adamant armor and 1500, all the XP that Harumph has, there's nothing that's going to slow me down here. But it's typically good intel for the newer runners. You do get a free peek at this boss if you're paying attention.
I rarely remember this boss, and I also always forget to check the hook route boss.
Oh yeah, I never remember that at all.
And I'm always surprised.
Yeah, well, my theory is I'm gonna do it anyway. Why not put it off for another hot second? See, my other strategy is just always do Baron at very last. Because that way, if it was required and I forgot, then I was going to lose by a lot anyway. And if it happened that Baron has nothing, then I can laugh at Flurry and not get eliminated from the tournament.
It sounds like you are talking from experience.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, and look who is on the throne, our most favorite alt gauntlet.
How many things can you fit under one robe?
Apparently with this alt gauntlet, about 12.
See, they're not actually this isn't a dictatorship. This is a self-elected collective that actually runs Baron. That requires a simple majority on regular matters and a 2/3 majority on more important matters.
Oh, that kind of sounds like you're talking about the Senate.
It could be the Senate.
Oh, okay.
But I will say that without Cecil in the seat, we also don't have to worry about strange women in ponds distributing swords as a basis of government either. Some people in chat, it's a Monty Python reference that I butchered, I'm sure. But slows down some of your progress, and now this is so the more seas you run, the more you're in your head about the decisions that you've made. Harumph and I have faced off in a tournament, and when you pull a Baron key out of a check that you don't necessarily think your opponent has made first, you've been fading the harp all this time. The last thing you want is just to run into the alt gauntlet on the Baron throne and then not get anything from Baron. But on the flip side of that, if we do get value from just this incredibly long walk, it's going to be that much more gratifying.
Yes, and we're about to see what this Baron trash can is going to hold for Harumph. And is it the Earth Crystal?
There are a few things. The Tower Key, the Pan, and the Rat Tail are the only key items remaining that could, potentially have value. They're the only ones you would still be looking for while you're hunting the Earth Crystal. Harumph, fading that music doesn't have darkness, but we are capable of immediately checking Rat, that Pan, or that Tower Key. But I'm still hoping it's behind a trap chest.
Well, there is the Pan, so I have a feeling we're about to go back underground on Harumph's side.
Yep, might check the throne first.
Yes. Odin throne.
This is the build-up, though. This is just, we know this isn't going to lead to darkness. So if this doesn't lead to Earth Crystal, all of this checking, I would love to see it, I guess I should say. As someone who strongly advocates against not doing Baron Castle, I'm really hoping that Pan leads to Tower, leads to Rat, leads to nothing. I was going to say pink, but then that would give an adamant armor, and we can't have that happen.
Well, we have found a turtle down on the Odin throne, but I have a feeling that we're probably just going to be making some turtle soup instead.
Yeah, Harumph didn't heal up fully. I don't think that Kane is sitting at 592. And this turtle, we're right around the hit threshold. This should probably be fine, but maybe one quick deep breath as this first wave goes off. Okay, got enough damage off.
Yes, and while Cade and Edward fall, our twins stay alive, and we should be able to get through this.
Yep, while the water is up, Keinatsu is weak to lightning attacks. So this will do.
Well as ice.
Ice when it's down and when Keinatsu is hiding behind the shell. So this is the Thunderclaw Ice Claw fight. The best of both worlds. But now that lit spell, that Kinatsu's wave isn't going to do that much damage, but this is, I'm sure Harumph is saying this would really better have value for how long this fight is taking, because if he would have just healed up that Cane before this started, that Avenger Cane would have probably won this fight by now.
Yes, but sometimes when you commit hard. And hopefully it'll pay off.
And this is, I mean, when you pull a chain item, you chase the chain. Even if it ends up wrapping itself around your neck and leaving you in a position where you just don't feel great for the rest of the seed. You chase that chain.
Now the big question is, if this gives us nothing, does Harumph go to the Twin Heart?
I would feel a little let down if we don't see the Flame Dog before the Twin Harp at this point from Harumph.
Oh.
Well, there's strike one. We have 3 potential strikes from Baron, considering we got the pan. There are 2 pan checks that could be strikes as well. But there's always a crystal sword somewhere in every seed, and Harumph
Yes, and we've already found 2.
located it. Oh, is there more?
There was one down in Sylph Cave, which both Harumph and Scythe Marshal threw away.
No. No basis for a system of government anyway. So now Harumph, if to get into the mind of Harumph here is please, let this pan give me something that I can either chase or one of the 2 key items that Harumph is still looking for. We know it's not darkness. Harumph doesn't know it's not darkness, though. Or it can't be darkness.
And our Sylph Fairies give us a tower key, which is something else to go and chase.
Asuka, I would say that's more than a probably at this point. I mean, we'll see if it pays out in the end, but this is turning into one glorious chain.
That it is.
And if Harumph pulls Earth Crystal from, oh, okay, I like this play from Harumph.
While you're down here, you may as well.
Yeah, it's your only remaining check down here. So you knock this out, and then your second pan turn in, or you gotta go to Troya and do something.
And meanwhile, on Scythe Marshal's side, we have seen him reach 10 key items, and so he is doing some door grinds to get some XP to make sure he can defeat that Ogo.
Yeah, with the bonus gear and everything else, easy to get through. There are some specific setups, depending on your agility and if you have someone who can cast wall, but making some quick work of those doors, it's great XP, 60-some thousand XP per door, so don't need to do too many, and no one can be blamed for wanting to be as prepared as possible to run into this Ogopogo fight where you just know you're immediately giving up half of your HP on each one of your characters.
And it looks like the tower key in the super cannon room is just hiding some dolls, which should be no problem because the spot only has very minimal XP. I mean HP. Letters are hard.
We've all been there. It's a great it's a great place to see the dolls, knowing that you have to go up to the giant and you have to fight the Masa altar, because you can just one-shot them here. So, will the tower key pay off? I am hoping it leads to the rat tail.
Which leads to a crystal sword.
Yes. Crystal swords end all chains end in crystal swords. And it's I mean we know where darkness crystal is. So this is 2 shots, and there are, I want to say, 10 other checks for Harumph right now. 9, I think, if you exclude music.
9 lunar trap chests.
I think it's 7 last arm, and there's 6 last arm hair dryers and flame dog, and then music. But I might not be correct. Either way, it's not paying off so far. Not paying off, but not what you're looking for.
Well, the path is helpful if you don't do the Massa Altar last.
Yeah, that is going to be really the next question for both of our runners is, do you go to the giant, knock that out, do the last arm chest, or are you going, because this is a lot of trap chests on the moon.
And our pan just gives us another shiny sword that we cannot use.
Oh, Asuka, that's brilliant. Oh man, never barren, always
That
music.
Was a very long chain to nothing.
It was the links that you built along the way. As we see Harumph flying. Okay.
Oh, Fey March!
That's right.
Forgot about summon.
This has been hanging. As Harumph has also just continued to fade Dwarf Castle, I believe, because
yes.
it doesn't have the spoon. Just that Golbez. Harumph just decided, no, I've got other places to be.
Well, we are about to see him take on these Fey March bosses.
Yep, Scythe made it through Ogo. Looking to grab, I think, a little more XP on the way out. And fingers crossed, I won't deny that the Baron Key is enticing the full clear of, just everything on the blue planet that you can. But with that Darkness Crystal in hand, Scythe has a chance to cut a lot of time out of potentially clearing this seed if you just don't open the door. Don't look behind the door.
Don't do it. Chase your objectives.
Now this could be a great play. There's not a, if you did the harp early, this would be something maybe that you decide that you're just going to leave alone and head on up to the moon or up to the giant. Harumph should have all the damage necessary. For these fights relative to when we saw Scythe initially come down and take an attempt.
With that arty bow on Edward, he's doing some very quick damage.
Yeah, Eddie's showing he's not just a one-trick pony. It's not just the spoon. If you can max him out with all of the rest of the best gear in the game, he can do some pretty okay damage.
Look, it was just that easy.
Part of me thinks, Scythe is taking a fair amount of doors here. This leads me to, given the information we have specifically, but this leads me to think maybe is doing this in preparation for either that Massa altar or going right up to the giant.
Yeah, because you definitely don't need this much grinding just to go to the Baron Castle.
And Harumph continues to be not rewarded for very bold strategies. Does have coffins in the inventory, and I think crank the battle speed way down. So we'll see if the Dark Imps even get a single gasp. But speaking of gasps, Trump is down to one final gasp if this is not what he's looking for.
You know, at this point, I'm kind of starting to feel a little bad.
I've had Rumpf root against me in multiple situations, and yeah, I believe that was the the Porum survived with just 2 hit points. Look at that
And rewarded
summon.
with a Leviathan summon from the Leviathan spot.
Yes, the vanilla Leviathan summon. Is that Rydia to the rescue?
Oh man. Now he's decided to go back and fight that Golbez.
Yeah. This is... Oh, or save scumming it?
Oh.
This is an interesting save scum. Well, maybe committed. Yeah, maybe committed to music. Because I was gonna say if you're gonna do Flame Dog, or maybe just gonna go Flame Dog. Yep. All right. Yes, this is commit to the bit. You gotta commit to the bit when you're on the restream, even when everyone watching knows that the bit isn't working for the last 45 minutes to an hour.
Well, we are about to find out if our tracker is correct with her prediction.
Heart Gamer called this very early on that Earth Crystal would be at the Flame Dog. If it is it a huge boon for Harumph. This is how this retroactively pays out through just pure stubbornness, because you will not have to take any trap chests on the moon or the one giant trap chest. So close.
Well, it is a key item.
It's a key item. It's a free adamant armor. It's... For Harumph, it looks like it's worth walking out. Will he take the time to turn this in and then go all the way back down to Dwarf Castle?
Or does he stop and do? No.
No.
Of course not.
Hey, that's as close to the Earth Crystal as you could hope for. I mean, it's not the Earth Crystal, so it doesn't count at all, but it's a pretty decent reward. As we see Scythe Marshal...
Oh no.
Just headed into what we know at this point to be a long sequence of events with very little to show for it at the end.
Oh man. But you know what? I think this is a great time to recognize our restream team. We have Asuka on Asuka424 restreaming this wonderful show tonight, as well as Heart Gamer, who is doing our tracking.
Yep, and also big shout outs to Zoe for creating this whole Enterprise legacy. I think one or two of our runners right now might not be that grateful, but Zoe's put in great work, and the whole concept and everything is really just it's worked so miraculously last season and this season as well. As maybe Harumph gets a little bit of solace against this Golbez with this whole adamant armor cane. Just gonna go burr.
Well,
not much
knowing
though.
that the spoon comes from this check, I think. I don't know, it's been so long now.
It's the spoon. It has to be, looking back between what Scythe Marshal has and what Harumph has. There's no other available key item that Harumph doesn't have. I like this play from Scythe Marshal, going down to grab your crystal sword before you complete the alt gauntlet on the Baron Throne to get the pan into tower, into pass, into an Excal.
This is just the scene where you don't actually want to see the shiny swords.
No, they're a bit of a slap in the face at this point. Scythe Marshal, I saw Nuke on his Palom, so relative to Harumph's Not So fight, I think this will be not so difficult. Huh?
Yeah. We're gonna make quick work of both of these bosses at this point. Well, maybe not.
Oh, who is the adamant armor? I believe what you just saw there was the result of having the adamant armor on Kayn, and then what happens when you take it off. Because that hit for, I would say, about double what I would have anticipated. That hit Kayn for 3,000. That's not how that was supposed to go.
That's definitely something I need to add to my sticky note collection to remember. And Harumph has decided that he does not want to go after any potential meta objectives and gets rid of his Rydia.
Yep, we know it's not take Iridia with the full party. I've been looking at these periodically. I maybe have some guesses, but I'm going to reserve to see if our runners pull off any more and we can get confirmation. And now I'm wondering. So the alt gauntlet will take a minute for Scythe, but then only the pan turn in and that one shot up tower. So I'm curious who is going to be headed to either the giant or up to the moon first at this point, because despite his best efforts, Harumph still has that long music check.
Than diving the hook route and doing those trap chests, because I don't think Harumph did that early on. Music is the only check he has left.
I think that brief pause we saw from Harumph was maybe just a stat sheet check. I think he might have been down there. I know one of the two runners at least made that dive. I think we'll know for sure if Harumph goes to music. Yep. This, I would assume, is the cry of defeat.
And the pause.
Yeah. As Porum just stares, just stares into everyone's eyes, just with sorrow written across her face. Oh, something has come up for Harumph. So I hope all is well for Harumph and it wasn't just simply the slow dawning of the realization that he's going to have to provide us with some music.
And that music was the answer all along.
I've made a huge mistake. Well, this will give Scythe Marshal the chance to probably be the first to start covering new ground.
Well, but we know where this chain goes, and he might decide to chase it.
Well, it's not. I mean, you have to go take that pan turn, and I think in the tower, it's just both of those are going to be fairly quick. And Scythe Marshal has launched the whale already, so that's one more bonus cutscene that Scythe Marshal is ahead. But what is your guess based on their locations? Who's going to launch? Who's going to head to either the moon or the giant first? Assuming Scythe Marshal runs through this chain. And
Sorry, I
Harumph
just got
slow
really
walks the
distracted.
music.
Maybe this is his attempt to do the perfectly polite Podesta.
That one has me entirely baffled. Like beyond baffled. I don't. There's definitely a reference there that I feel like I should know, but I don't.
Yeah, I've got nothing other than that would have been my guess as some sort of slow walk. But now that distracted me and I completely forgot what question you asked.
So who do you think lands on either the moon or giant first? Who do you think inputs one of those two from the whale?
I think they'll be within 30 seconds of each other at this point.
We'll see. Scythe Marshal deciding to do the pan turn in before doing the tower key. I mean, hunting just one key item, I don't think it's all too big of a deal. I also think Harumph is realizing that all of this defense and strength on Eddie is making him very difficult to kill. It is one of the things to look out for is when you run into this fight, do I have the power to off my own characters, or is their defense so good that no matter what I throw at them, I have to sit through the whole cutscene? But I think we all should give a moment of silence for Harumph boldly playing the music for us. Kind of Harumph to choose this moment to do some inventorying. I was pausing to see what the last arm was going to be. It is not the Earth Crystal.
It is another adamant armor.
I do like to think that speech during the Water Hag fight was just a little bonus salt in the wound for Harumph. Believe in yourself. So, good to know. The one thing that you don't want to find out is that you cleared every single one of the lunar subterranean trap chests only for it to be in the last arm. So I appreciate this routing choice, particularly in a required giant. We'll see what Rumphy does. I am curious about these bosses, but Scythe Marshal now, given the XP that he currently possesses, I'm not sure who could pose too much of a threat.
We have Mylon and friends.
So this fight you can comfortably refer to as getting lit 1 cast on you 15 times. But other than that, not going to be too big of a deal.
No, it is just a 65,000 HP zombie dance party.
Well, Thriller was still new when that came out. It was still cool back then. We are getting divergence here. And maybe Harumph will be kind enough to see if my guess was correct.
We are going to check the Bahamut spot first.
That's fair. The Bahamut spot does count as a summon monster spot. So therefore can hold a key item. And I don't dislike the idea when you're searching for the Earth Crystal. Even with pass in hand, I would probably do as much of the moon top down. Just hoping I can get the Earth Crystal, exit out, knock that out, and then run down and do Masa. Although, we'll see. Harumph does not have the benefit of all of those doors that Scythe Marshal has.
That is true. He might be banking on doing a little bit of trap chest grinds up here.
Mylon has lost his dance party, but is still spinning.
But oh, my body, and we have a Mylon gone.
So, as a quick recap, the 4th and 5th objectives are both unlocked by gaining access to that Darkness Crystal. We are on a hunt for just the Earth Crystal. And assuming Harumph doesn't get it from here, because why would Harumph get it from here? The moon does not have key items in the typical moon boss spots. There are only key items from the trap chests.
So at this point, we are looking for an Earth Crystal in a box.
And Harumph just decides, I don't want that XP. I don't want no Silent Staff. I want to go to the Giant.
And while we are chasing an objective, the trap chest in the Giant will not have what he is looking for.
Seems to be a pretty consistent through line. Just as a reminder, there are, I believe, 5 other people running this race. We have had no finishers thus far. So everyone else is also out there looking for that Earth Crystal. And we will keep you posted as duns come in. But this has been a real special piece of special, considering we've been one key item from Go mode for Scythe Marshal, at least for the duration of this seed, I would say.
We do pick up a Yang from the character check at the top of the Giant, which I will say I don't really take that often.
The Punch Mage?
No, just the character at the end of the Giant.
Oh, the character at the end of the Giant.
I don't
No,
see them
probably
very often.
not. By the time they join, I'm usually so upset that my Giant play hasn't paid out that I couldn't even tell you who it is most of the time. And it looks like, I guess Scythe Marshal hadn't cleared out some of these remaining trap chests. As we see them head into Castle Evelyn, Harumph will get the okay, also bad news that this is just an adamant armor.
Just an adamant armor.
There is one thing in particular I feel like our runners would prefer over an adamant armor right now, and that is another crystal sword.
Yes, because 2 was definitely not enough for this seed.
Although the DJ Mylon with this party, you know, Scythe Marshal had the benefit of nuke, but a couple Quakes and some Zerks on that Spoonward and the Cane. This is not going to be too much of a loss for the general lack of XP. And looking at the totals, we're going to be real close to getting Hallam up to nuke by the end of this, I think.
Yes, that is definitely some math I don't know off the top of my head.
And as our runners sort of circle around each other, it's a great time to bring up, if you're enjoying what you see, you want to participate. We have a Discord full of the most wonderful people. With the Newbies Corner, we have, as our restreamer Asuka has mentioned, a league just for people getting started, the Pink Puffs League. We have areas to ask questions, share seeds. So please feel free to come on in and get in on the fun. You can join us here in the booth or the tracking or the restreaming as well on our restream teams. And a big shout out again to Asuka424 for whatever this is that we're watching. Heart Gamer for keeping track of the buttons, and J-Mac, thank you again for being up here with me talking about this.
Thank you for coming out of partial retirement to be my partner on my first comms outing for Free Enterprise.
Well, it's turned into something. I'm glad I was here for it. I've seen some crazy things in my comms days, and this will at least be the most memorable for Harumph.
Yes, I imagine so. And it looks like Scythe Marshal is doing the cheeky Flame Dog chest, and unfortunately, he will find himself disappointed here momentarily.
You know, I believe it was maybe about an hour ago that I said you just YOLO go right up to the moon.
Well, in this seed, you would have been correct.
If I was playing in this seed, it would have been absolutely the wrong choice. It's only when I'm sitting back and watching do I say what I might have done might have actually worked.
But in actuality, it looks like we might have our runners headed up to the lunar subterrane at relatively the same time, especially if Scythe Marshal decides to do that Bahamut Cave check before heading into the Crystal Palace.
Yeah, that was a check I hadn't thought about. The 2 I would have considered, had I been Harumph before I just made this quick giant play, would have been that. But the hair dryers are also just kind of sitting right there. Or maybe we're just diving right down to the core.
This is definitely an interesting play from Scythe Marshal.
Well, Scythe, having faded that tower key, is lacking the pass. So I would say you might want to do, the top down, because once you pull Earth Crystal, you're going to have to circle back and do that walk one more time. So maybe put the Masamune altar off with what Harumph has with the pass. I don't know what choices you make. These trap chests some of them are okay to do, some of them are slow. But everyone that you miss on is just one of the. It's just another feels bad for this seed.
Yep. Looks like Scythe is headed straight down to the Massa altar to go ahead and complete that objective.
Well, Berserk, it might not be Pazuzu on floor 2, but we could at least play the game of what floor of the lunar subterranean is the Earth Crystal on.
Well,
there's a chance for floor 6.
Have we seen the hairdryer chest, or did I just totally zone out for that?
Nope, Scythe Marshal is putting off any of the trap chests in favor of diving right down to the Massa altar. Did not do that. The Cape Bahamut fight. So maybe thinking, let me knock this out of the way, and then I'll do it from the bottom up. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Harumph take the opposite approach. But with one key item from Go Mode, it's you pick right or you pick wrong. But if they route top down and bottom up, it will at least give us sort of alternate perspectives or a quicker chance to figure out which one of these chests has the Earth Crystal. Now, my chest is still in play. Anyone in chat or JMac, is there a favorite lunar subterranean trap chest now that you have that you would like to see this Earth Crystal residing in?
I mean, at this point, it's got to be the Bimmy and Jimmy Dragon chest. Because, of course, it's got to be that one.
Everyone's favorite dragon pair. But with this gear, you know, they're one where when it's randomized and maybe you haven't had to do every other trap chest in the game that they could be more dangerous on with the boon of 2 adamant armors. They're not going to be too terrifying.
No.
But they are a cute couple.
Of course there's a Val here.
Oh, so many boss spots on the moon that you don't have to do. Asuka pointing at the seed. Just proud restream seed roller.
I mean, the good news is that you've got a party that can you've got 2 melees that can just hit this, and a Kane that can jump. The bad news is it's still Val on the moon, and as we just saw, you can't even use Nuke when Val is in her tornado form.
Yep. And there's so much magic at this spot that even an adamant armor is not enough to protect you from those weak casts from Valvalis. I would say any other spot in the game you could rest easy thinking that you're not going to get weaked, but Val showing off just pure aggression.
And it looks like you were also wrong on the Earth Crystal location, because
our runners are
the hairdryers just got the Massa Sword.
Oh, the shiny swords everywhere. Sword not appearing in this seed. Okay, I had someone in chat, I don't remember who, said they were hoping it was the Behemoth. There's one Behemoth fight on the way up to the Crystal Sword altar. And maybe we'll see Scythe get to that. Scythe sizing up the ribbon room. Maybe just so accustomed to, you know, a majority of free enterprise seeds where there are key items turned on. Nothing is really gonna stand in their way though. Even this Antlion. Wow, this is a rude spot for Antlion.
It is a very punchy moon spot for Antlion, who is in his natural habitat.
Yeah, and we are this will be Divergence. Harumph is going to top down. So we'll have an answer to the only real question we've had for the last hour and a half, which is where is this little shiny rock that is gating our access to the crystal?
Ooh, could we potentially have both of them checking the trap chest at the same time and meet in the middle? That would be magic.
Are they gonna Benjamin Button the seed?
They might.
Well, we have second adamant armor. But what about third adamant armor? Not the worst pull. Missed what Harumph got.
I did too, but I don't think it was the Earth Crystal.
I doubt it was the Earth Crystal.
Yeah, I think Scythe has forgotten that the moon, K-Moon, is not on.
Yep. But fortunately has enough power to the point where, and well, 1 in 3 of the bosses hasn't been incredibly rude. But yeah, we'll see if Harumph continues to pull trap chests on the way down. Pass in hand, you may consider diving down and going from the bottom, but when you have a Dragoon Spear, Avenger, now a Power Shirt, you have Spoonward, you have Adamant Armors, these once feared trap chests aren't quite what they used to be.
And we have another crystal sword. Seed is validated with 3 crystal swords.
Well, you have to have 1 crystal sword for every adamant armor that you get, right?
I think so. I think that's how it works.
And here we go. So there's this trap chest and 1 behemoth chest, even as Scythe makes his way over to crystal sword. So we'll get 2 checks this way. With Harumph going bottom or top down, we'll get to our answer soon enough.
And Harumph is making use of all of this experience with another adamant. We're just full of adamants tonight.
Yeah, it's apt for his complete unwillingness to do the twin harp. And the behemoth was at least nice enough to just only kill Porum, who's getting XP no matter what happens.
And we have the Bimmy and Jimmy chests.
But continuing on, our poor Harumph with the right idea, just getting randoed on locations. The Earth Crystal has been located.
There it is. So we are just parking way downriver and doing a slow walk. Maybe a perfectly polite Podesta up to the Earth Crystal.
I feel like it would be so obvious if it's explained, and yet it's so baffling. Whatever that is supposed to mean. But Scythe with a decided advantage, and of the 7 runners in the seed, we are yet to have a finisher. The Scythe does not have the advantage of the pass, which Harumph has, as well as 17 adamant armors, but will be the first of our featured runners, I believe, to get the crystal.
Now the question is, which 2 bosses and which 2 characters are we going to find up at the top of this tower?
See, this was, if there was going to be a Cecil in this seed, if Cecil was permitted, this would be when there are dupes, and this would be where you find 2 Cecils.
Oh yes, or Cecil and an Edge.
Yeah.
Or 2 Foos.
Just right when you need them most, just like the giant character.
Of course.
Oh, so difficult.
Oh man.
Who rolled
Talk
this?
about
The seed is free.
Freest of free.
Quick cameo from King and Queen Evelyn.
And is that a 5th crystal sword?
Well, the good news for Harumph is there are a finite number of draft chests on the lunar subterranean. And given that Masamune is required, hopefully we'll manage to skip at least the one behemoth chest. But nothing is guaranteed at this point. I am hoping that one of those was for a Quint Zerk.
Quint Zerk with Max Party 4 on. It's
Yeah.
fine. Everything's fine.
Oh, relating to the seed. I feel like that's a little swag, though. If you can manage to Zerk up a non-existent 5th party member. In one final boss for Scythe Marshal. I feel like they both deserve the world's fastest paladin award at the end of this, no matter what that was supposed to be.
They are paladins for completing this seed. And that Evo wall is come and gone, which means that Scythe Marshal is about to receive his crystal.
Yeah, and I think, depending on Harumph's routing, we probably will get a runner high 5, just not the one you would hope for originally, but I do believe Scythe Marshal will at some point probably catch up and run past Harumph on his way down. I would say Harumph probably is not going to get the perfectly polite award if we do get an interview.
Well, and it looks like we do have our first place finisher off stream. Pyre has finished with a time of 1:57:30. GG's to Pyre.
Yes, GG's. That's... I mean, you know you've done something well on these flags if... Of 7 capable runners. We'll see, but we might only have one finish in under 2 hours. Yeah, that's a sub 2. If this were Mystic Quest, that would be very impressive. But I think at this point, Pyre was happy to hang up the hat. Oh, Harumph, you're doing it the wrong way again.
Oh dear.
This is the purest of... There's 17 out of 17. There's 27 out of 27. This is the 27 out of 27 plus every single trap chest in the game. I believe that Harumph is going to pitch for us.
Good news is that if this is your first time watching Free Enterprise, you have now gotten an official tour of everything there is to see.
Yeah, and just wait till you have a Cecil in your party and you actually want a Crystal Sword and an Excalibur. They are much harder to come by when you root for them. And it looks like, oh, we're getting so close. Our overlap might happen as Harumph is getting the Earth Crystal, because I feel like at this point, you definitely run down and do Masa before completing the Earth Crystal. All right, wave to Harumph, Scythe Marshal.
We're waving.
Do the hand gesture for the trucks to honk their horn. But here we go. Okay, I've seen some dicey Zeromus fights in my day.
But how many
And
have you seen with a 2100 HP, Edward?
fewer than I would like. I mean, Harumph still has, I think, 20 apples in his inventory if we're gonna get silly with it. Decided that, bought the apples. It's a good idea at the time, but that's like, when you go grocery shopping and you buy that fruit, and then you just don't, you end up not eating it.
That is me every week. Every week.
It's just those extra apples, and you're like, well, maybe I'll have one later. But Harumph Earth Crystal acquired. Oh, here we go. Here come the apples.
Who's getting them? You get an apple. You get an apple.
Yeah, the doctor is being kept away at least from two.
You get an apple.
There we go. Oh, poor Kane. No one ever thinks of Kane.
Now we have a 3000 HP, Edward. Talk about your swole words.
Yeah. I have a feeling like Harumph isn't too concerned about who happens to show up at this Masa altar. But J-Mac, we are running into our final question. There are some flags appearing. Maybe you would like to explain what the heck these flags are, and obviously, for your first time, there's a question.
Yes,
barring that
apparently
explanation.
it is my bedtime because as an educator I must go to bed early. No, this is actually the part in our show where we get to see our Z fight, and since Zeromus is not a boss that we can randomize, we instead randomize the sprite. And with over 500 different options and counting, we are about to see whose butt are we going to kick tonight.
Well done, whose butt indeed. And I am sure Scythe is more than ready to start kicking butt as quickly as possible. And big shout outs to Scalakitty, who's in the chat, for so much of the sprite work, which is all absolutely amazing.
This is a new one for me. I have never seen Zero Bus before.
I've never seen this either. This is amazing and terrifying.
It is coming straight out of the screen.
I know Skull is here. It's the desert bus. I was wondering if this is just because Zero Bus was a funny portmanteau, or if this is from a specific game, or if it's both. This also makes me think of that Elder Scrolls mod where they changed the opening dragon into Thomas the Tank Engine. Okay, counter nuking Eddie for 800 damage.
And he doesn't even sweat. And we are rolling about 9,000 around between Edward and Kane right now.
Yeah, that's typically going to be enough damage, notwithstanding the fact that they're all equipped to the teeth. And we are going to be reflecting some nukes. Everyone's getting in the game. Doesn't look like we're going to see a quad Zerk. So maybe we won't figure out what perfectly polite Podesta means.
While Scythe is finishing up his Z fight, we have had Rybon finish in second place with a time of 2:02:34, and Judge Joe, who finished in third place with a time of 2:04:54. So GG's to both of you.
Yeah, anyone who made it all the way through this gauntlet of a seed deserves only the highest of praise.
And the biggest of G's.
Yes. PK throwing out quad 9s on that nuke. Love to see my namesake at just absolutely silly levels of magic power.
Oh, and that looks like the snap, crackle, and pop of the Zeromus. So Scythe Marshall has finished this seed with a time of 2:06:53 and has finished in 4th place.
So yeah, get your GGs out in chat. We'll see if Scythe is willing to come commiserate with us. But yeah, that's how all Zeromus fights go, right? You just stand there and burn Zeromus to the ground. That's how it always works.
And
Anyone new to the game, it's always
spoon.
free. Yeah. Eddie hits for 6,000 damage with 2,100 hit points. That's we can't move Zeromus. It's just because he's so big. It's not because anyone's ever had difficulty with the Zeromus fight.
No, never wiped to Zeromus.
And there's a Rosa. There is a Rosa in the seat. I wasn't paying attention the first time. And we do have Harump does have the pass, so we'll be getting into this Zeromus fight very quickly. And we'll also probably have few issues. As I believe we are joined by Scythe Marshall. GG's.
GG's, thanks. That was interesting.
So, I mean, a lot of questions, not necessarily about your routing, excluding why didn't you do the tower key? What was it about the tower key that you decided you didn't want to do that one thing?
Well, so I screwed up, right? About 43 minutes into the seed or whatever, I realized, no, I should have beelined it to the moon. As, like, get my levels, beeline it to the moon. Because I found darkness where Harumph was never going to find it. Oh, I see Harumph typing. Okay.
You were right. As far as your moon access versus Harumph's moon access, it was the polar opposite. I mean, you both left for the moon around the same time just because of, the number
because I delayed it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you probably had an hour on Harumph if you wanted to go straight to the moon.
Exactly, right? So, that said, I had my party and I was like, I don't have the levels. What I should have done, right? Instead of trying Seal Cave and failing, and then trying Odin and failing, I should have just said, I need levels. I have a Quake caster. I have 4 party members. Do Sylph Cave, right? I should have just gone there, even without tanky items. And then, you get all the experience, then you go back to Seal Cave, and then, I don't know. I guess I was lucky in the sense that the Legend Sword from the Warrior's chest, since I had Quake, gave me the Cole's Forge Shop, which gave me the 4 ribbons, which made trapdoors an obvious grind, question mark? I don't know. Did anyone find hourglasses? Because I didn't.
I don't think so.
Not think so.
Okay. Because if I had hourglasses, it would have just been do a King Ryu grind or something on the moon. That would have been the right choice, probably. But I never found them.
Well, it was such a masterfully crafted seed giving you that Baron key. I know we got a kick out of it. Just that you only get the Baron key out of the Sylph traps, and then Baron just gives you all of the the Baron basement doesn't give you anything. Then you get the Pan. The Pan gives you the tower key. The second turn in gives you an X-Cal.
Big troll.
Yeah.
What did the tower key give you?
To justify.
The pass.
It was the pass.
Oh, it was the pass. Ha ha ha. Oh, great. I think it would have been about the same time to fly back anyway.
So my question, my question is, did you find enough crystal swords?
I found. Well, I ditched one of them with Bahamut. That was funny. And then, did I find 2 more or 3 more? Or 1 more? I don't remember. It was like 2 or 3 I found.
I think there were at least 5 in the seed between the two of you.
That's
You
funny.
got a bonus one from the ribbon room, I think. And if you find 3 in a seed, you actually get to take one with you to the next seed. So congratulations.
Oh, well. I don't know. Someone ditched Cecil, so. And I only finished 4th, so I don't get to put Cecil back into the seed. So, Rybon and Pyre, you know what to do.
I have a feeling that you're not going to get your wish with the way.
I think
as-
Cecil's gone. He's gone
Yeah.
forever.
As someone whose only choice I got to make during these flags is put no XP on, they typically don't get easier.
No. I don't know. I made. So when I won week 2, which I don't know how that happened, but I put the 99 kit on, and I don't know, 99 Earth Hammers set us up pretty well this seed.
Yeah, you did not want for money.
I
Well,
can't
and
wait to
here-
find out if that was one of the meta objectives. Ooh.
Well, speaking of meta objectives, 2 were unlocked. One of which was unlocked before the seed even started.
Okay, then it must have been the naming. Must have been
Yes.
the naming.
Flattery will get you somewhere was unlocked by you naming a character after Zoe Vermillion.
Perfect.
And then you did also figure out the do you really need that many by buying 99 items in a shop on stream.
Perfect. Wonderful.
But we did appreciate your cheeky Chocobo Forest check for that chest.
That black belt was pretty good.
Yes, it paid off.
How did you like the black belt, J-Mac? Because you wore it for like half the seed.
I think it paid off very well. It was
Your
definitely a
effort-
good choice.
Was that an attempt at a meta objective when you picked up that Rydia Dwarf Castle and then immediately just went and were like, okay, goodbye, Rydia?
Well, it sort of was, but I couldn't say no to picking up the Rydia and saying, oh wait, look at my party. Look who's in the restream booth.
So you
I
just
don't know, I
wanted
thought
to
it was
yeet her?
No, I
Twice?
didn't want to. I didn't want to yeet her. I would have taken her, except Kane was kind of better at that point anyway, and I wasn't gonna get rid of all the levels. Turns out she would have got the levels, but I felt that it'd be 1, it'd be funny, 2, meta objective, 3, like, I don't know. I think it was cool to have, like, it just fluked out that the 4 people in the restream booth were the 4 characters on my team. Thought that was good.
It was like a match made in heaven today.
Yeah, and I feel like you did. I mean, Asuka getting required music with Adam and Spoonword is a pretty fair justice to the seed roller, on top of just the way that seed played out in general.
Yeah, really. It was fun. It was kind of like, honestly, I would still be playing if I hadn't checked that monster chest on the LST.
Yeah, I mean, you see all the times as they came in. I mean, 157 and change was first place, so I think everybody was right there with you for a majority of that.
Yeah. Oh well. I probably overgrinded with the trapdoor grind, but I was like, you know what? I like to be a little bit over leveled for this kind of, like, for party size 4, I like to be a little bit over leveled, and it makes the giant go really quickly instead of a slog that it could be. So I didn't mind.
No, it paid out. Having Nuke saved you some time, and I mean, it doesn't hurt. The doors, I mean, with what the equipment you had, the doors were definitely free.
Yeah, I figured, oh, ribbons. Huh, why not? It'll work. I was kind of panicked. I almost panicked. I was like, wait, do ribbons actually protect against this? They must. There's no way they don't, because they protect against like the Golbez dragon. So like this has to work, and luckily it did.
Well,
Well,
GG's on your
yeah.
valiant effort today. It was a slog of a seed, and you definitely completed it very well.
I completed it eventually. There was the part in the middle of the seed that did not go very well, but then kind of the back end, sort of just sweeping through all the checks, and then I felt the early game kind of went okay. I did what I could with what I had. I forgot Vanilla Traps is on. I should have looted Castle Evelyn, but oh well.
No, it was a great run. Any final thoughts?
What objective would I like to see? I don't know. I guess there are a number of flag changes that I would like, and I'm not going to get any of them. So I look forward to seeing what we get next week.
Well, GG's.
All right, take care,
GG.
folks. Thanks to the Restream booth. I think everyone knows. I think you know who you are. I named my characters after you. So yeah, take care, folks.
And during that interview, we had Flurry finish in 5th place with a time of 2:08:29. Roger McBain finished in 6th place with a time of 2:13:20, and Harumph finished in 7th place with a time of 2:15:13.
And it sounds like we are joined by Harumph. GG's.
Was it though?
I mean,
Was it?
GG's, Harumph.
do you have anything you can say publicly about that seed that you said privately to yourself as you were running it?
Something harp cartel.
Well, you committed to the bit, which I respect you for, considering I made the exact same mistake on Monday. So I appreciate the commitment. I mean, what do you think? Did you get more crystal swords or more adamant armors?
I think it was more adamant armors here. I think by about 1. Think how all the excals one could ever want, I suppose. As well. Yeah. Yeah, you're never gonna get a great time here when you do. I think there are only 1 or 2 checks left for go mode. So
It was an earth crystal in a chest, as they like to say, and you checked the last one.
checking the last one, there was one I didn't check.
There you go. There's some solace for you.
Yes. So you didn't completely full clear the
Yeah.
seed. So GG's for that.
It was close.
So instead of talking about how much of the seed you did, why don't you tell us about maybe some of your decisions to try and guess some of these meta objectives? We did appreciate and cackle at your very slow walk down to the harp check.
There are a few things I, gave a little bit of thought of here, although most of that went out the window here shortly after the dwarf castle check. Try to finish with a little swag here. I was trying to time the Medio, trying to time Rocks to finish off Z here, but Eddie kind of got in the way. Or Porum, one of the two. I'll blame Porum. I also don't think I bought an excessive amount of apples, just 20.
Well, if you want to hang out or open up the broadcast, if you are still interested as opposed to done playing this game for the rest of your life, Asuka is going to reveal the unlocked objectives at least. But do you have any final thoughts? Anything more you want to add?
Not that I can say again. Not that I can say publicly here that I won't get the channel, TOS, or at least be in the realm of PG-13. Except, thank you here to our broadcast team, to PK, JMac with her debut. I'm sure it was a great one. Heart on tracking, and I suppose I should thank Oscar as well here for her work with the restream. The less said about the seed, the better, though.
Well, thank you for putting on a show for us.
Yes, it was very fun to watch, even if it wasn't that fun to play.
All right. Have a great night.
GG's. Yeah, you as well. And as mentioned, we're about to be joined by Asuka, our restreamer, to explain quickly the meta objectives that were unlocked during this race. Or we're just doing a screen transition that explains exactly what happened already, and I misread everything that was sent to me. So
Yes.
there they are. Yeah, JMac.
Yes, so we did unlock these two objectives during this race, and so the S Wild flag as well as the 99 kit flag are now going to be permanent objectives for the rest of this season.
And just so
Awesome.
the chat knows, I'm glaring at you right now, PK. Hi, chat.
I don't think they expected anything less. Well, JMac, thank you so much. I'm going to go back into retirement and let you lead us out. I believe we do have a raid target. So thank you so much for joining me in the booth, and I'm leaving it up to you.
Well, thank you for joining me in my first comms performance on FE. We are going to raid over to Sumichu, who is a returning person back to FE after taking a hiatus. So make sure to stop in and say hey, and we will see you all on Friday night for our regularly streamed community race.